One of my favorite myths is how there's this thing called freedom of speech. It's a joke. There's no freedom of speech. There never was freedom of speech. I don't know why we say this. I don't understand it. I mean, I guess you could say, well, people aren't dragged out of their homes and thrown into prison indefinitely or shot at dawn by the gendarme or some rogue stormtrooper said, okay, maybe. But short of that, don't give me this stuff about freedom of speech. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. In fact, I have never in my life remembered being so limited in what I can say ever. I remember when PC, politically correct speech, was first introduced, and I thought that's kind of weird. Everybody said, "Oh, this is PC," and then they talked about that cancel culture. There was nothing compared to this. Let me explain to you, my friends, very quickly. But before, let me ask you to please subscribe to the channel. You know I got to say this. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the little bell so you're notified of new streams and new live streams and all this other kind of jazz. But let's just go back. Since the Alien and Sedition Act, since HUE Act, the House of American Activities, from the Comstock Act to Post Office Acts regarding obscenity to Elvis not being seen below his waist, it just goes on and on. But before it seemed like it was rather, I don't know, doable, workable. Maybe we could just kind of sort of, yeah, we had problems in the old days. Remember, they wanted to limit music. Remember the time? We probably don't, but during the time of the Everly Brothers, Wake Up Little Susie, they thought this is a song that implies they're sleeping together. They fell asleep at the drive-in. Come on. They thought Frank Sinatra was, and they were always worried about rock and roll must go, and then they didn't like disco, they didn't like this, and then on TV you can't. So there's been limitations of what you can and can't say, but never like this, never, because it's self-censorship. And what they did was they take this thing called social media. They said, "Hey, do you like this thing?" And this is a portable. This is a wireless mouse. But anyway, pretend this is a phone. Do you like this? Yes. Do you want to make sure you never lose the ability to talk to your friends and show your Barbie parties? Grown women dressed like Barbie and pink. Can you believe this? They've lost their minds. Anyway, but do you want to do that? Yeah, okay. Well, don't say this and don't say this. And if you have anything to say about viruses or vaccines or COVID, shut up. Unless it's the officially accepted version. Okay. Okay. You got that? Yeah. You got anything you want to say about Russia? Forget it. Only if it's the acceptable form of what you can say, which has to be nothing but detestation and loathing. Notice how that's kind of pooping out. Remember when the people with the wisdom for Ukraine? Where's Ukraine? I don't know. Or they would call it the Ukraine. The Ukraine. You would see little maps. You still see the New York Post. They have the support. That's kind of gone nowhere. Remember that? Before this is before your time. Nobody talks about it anymore. If you didn't say the right thing about 9/11, you were a truther and you were a nut. You were a lunatic. You were crazy. And even, they kind of laughed at Alex Jones in the old days, but not like now. Now it's just, now they crush you. You're just crushed. You're destroyed. There's no freedom of speech. Nothing. But not only that, we have something which is more interesting. We have no freedom of speech, but we have the most incredibly lackluster, torpid, otiose, concretized, narcotized society. And nobody cares about anything. I'm going to do this on a different time, a different video, but let me just ask you this. I was in New York on that Tuesday morning on September the 11th, 2001. I was here. Mrs. L was here. We were here. And I can take you through that exercise as a person with a front row seat to what happened. And at the time, there was a sense of patriotism, the likes of which, I mean, people were just rushing to enlistment stations and recruitment stations, and they were joining the military to go and fight those bastards, whoever they were. But we're gonna fight them. Pat Tillman, yes. Jessica Lynch. Well, anyway, yeah. Would that let's assume 9/11 happened today. Would that happen today? Absolutely not. Why? Because people hate this country. They hate this country. They hate it. They're detached. They're confused. They're narcotized. Maybe it's the psych meds. Maybe it's just this collapse. We're just losing our minds. Now we can sit back and just watch Karens on airplanes. Go to YouTube and look at all the fights at airports. All the fights. This savage. Who are these people? And they're all over the place. It's insanity. Kids being deprived not only of their childhood, but of their gender. And what does America do? Nothing. Boy, that's terrible. Do you vote? No, I don't vote. So we're under this repression, suppression, this inability to speak freely, and nobody seems to care because people are too busy, because they're bored. They're bored. They're too busy. They got stuff to do. They can't be bothered with this stuff. That's the problem, my friend. I don't recognize this place. So I love these. And now every now and then you have these big mouths, in the right wing, not the right, but, streaming, whatever. Talk about the truth. Whose truth? Your truth? The biggest bunch. I got news for you. God bless anybody who wants to opine. God bless. But we got people, biggest bunch of blowhards and bilious bombasts and dastards coming out of the woodwork who basically don't say anything. Nothing. Big talk. Big talk, big news, New York, right? Jennifer Warren. Actually, I think it was Donald Fagen who wrote that. Big noise, New York. Anyway, that's where we are right now. Look at last week. Oh, here's the Hunter Biden laptop. Yes, the laptop from hell. We've got a hearing on the weaponization. Wasn't that great? Most people watch CNN. They're talking about Barbie or Trump. You don't think that's a freedom of speech violation? I do. While you're talking about stuff that matters, these people are talking about La La Land. It's over. There's never been freedom of speech, but what little we had is like nothing compared to now. Pretty soon you're going to be so afraid you won't say anything about anything. Nothing. And meanwhile, they're coming after your, here in New York, pizza ovens and water heaters, and they're coming after your, you name it, stuff that doesn't even matter anymore. And what are people doing? They're just saying nothing. Can we go see Barbie again? Can I wear pink? Say I'm pretty. Say I'm pretty. Oh my God. I don't recognize this point. I don't recognize this country. In fact, the other day, went to a party. It was like a shower, couple shower. That's interesting. And I kept looking at this lump, this bump. I'm thinking to myself, this poor kid is like, go back. Don't come out. Go back. This is a hellhole. I've never seen so many people so profoundly stupid, unimaginative, incurious, who know nothing. Nothing. Look around you. Do yourself a favor. Go to a mall. Just have a seat and watch the greatest parade of the pachyderms as they waddle on by. Clueless. Barely ambulating, locomoting, trying to shift this heft. Big, fat, narcotized on every, with their service dogs, and I've got my anxiety, and I don't want to think about that. And kids who don't make eye contact and stare like this with their wonderful pretense. I mean, this is I don't recognize this place anymore. I don't recognize it. Then don't give me that business about freedom of speech. Not only is there no freedom of speech, nobody cares about it. Nobody cares. I hope I didn't ruin your day. So, my friends, do me a favor. Please like this video. I got to say this. I'm with you. I hate these people who start up. I like when they say, like this video. I say, well, would you say something before I start liking it? Would you say something? You're asking me to do all this stuff, like it, follow you. Who the hell are you? What are you doing? What are you talking about? So I give you a little bit of an intro, did this, and I remind you. Now, do me a favor, please. Because metrics. Oh. Some of these people, look at this woman. She's unboxing a curling iron. She got 9 million views. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. And please, if you could and you would, brighten my northern skies. A great Nick Drake would intone, but also please comment as you see fit.